Yo, 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 and I'm back again. No, I'm just kidding. And to everybody that was talking smack on my short, this is just espresso shots and milk and caramel drizzle. Nothing exciting. It was just a little snippet that I had posted from my last video, but whatever. But let's just jump right into the nitty gritty because I know y'all miss me. Okay, so Selling Sunset season 5. Wow, what a season. There's been so many changes that have happened, so let's jump right into it. We got a new girl this season, and she was black. She was British, but she was black. So that was already giving me the feels. I was just like, oh, hey, welcome. And it was funny because she went through one of those LA trauma stories that I feel like everybody goes through when you first move to LA. The quote, people in California live in a different world, that is very, very, very much true. It's just like until you go to LA party, you haven't really seen LA. So the fact when she walked in super glamorous and like over the top and extra and told that story, how she went to the open house with flats and everybody had on heels and she was just way underdressed. That's definitely a thing. And like she said, that was traumatizing and she never looked back since. So she's been extra since she's been here. But Chelsea was really good. I feel like even though she kind of caused even more of a division, because as we know, Christine is not even with the brokerage anymore. And then for Jason to say that on the reunion that there wasn't a place for her, maybe if she brings in a listing or, if they talk, then maybe they can work some things out. But the way everybody's faces were when he said that, I either felt like that was news to everybody or that's not true. So I was like, I was trying to read the room, but it was really hard. But Chelsea definitely had a place. She definitely stirred up the drama. We all know Christine needed a friend this season, so that was like the perfect little setup. And everybody says Brits and or Europeans in general are just more blunt and aggressive, which I feel like is definitely true. And Chelsea understood the assignment because that is definitely what she executed. But I was just so happy that it was a black girl and it was like different energy. I was like, okay, look at y'all coming up. The diversity. But work ethic this season was definitely at a minimum. Keilah, I just love Keilah because she is just a grinder. She's a top producer and she gonna make the money regardless. Obviously she's older and I feel like her network is a little bit bigger than everybody else's because she was an actress, so she has probably a few more extra connects, and she is really the only one that branches out past the Sunset area. She doesn't necessarily, she comes to the Valley, and I think she sells homes in other places, so she's not just stuck in Sunset, which obviously, the further out you go or the more you expand your business, it's just you get more opportunities. So I feel like that's definitely where she's at. Emma is always on the grind. I just love her. And, she was trying to romance the developer or whatever. But like she said on the reunion, she's just having fun, which is, she's about her money, but she's having fun. Christine she had that one open house, but I'm like, I don't even know if that was a stage. Was that a stage open house, a stage listing? Because the way they acted in there, if that was my house, I would have been like, absolutely not. Davina and Vanessa, I guess during the filming time, it seemed like they weren't really working a whole lot. I know they touched on it a few times, how they were kind of struggling, at that time period when they were filming. So I guess we'll kind of see how that pans out, but they definitely needed a shakeup this season. And like with Chelsea coming in and like the whole seating arrangements, because Chelsea came, that's definitely why they moved up Mary. We already know that. Even though Mary's been there pretty much the longest, but I feel like they just wanted to give her more responsibility, because I feel like Jason and Brett were kind of, when it's women and it gets into that cat fighting and like, bickering back and forth, I just feel like men become like, they become like intimidated and like they just don't want to deal with it. So I feel like they pull Mary up so that can be her place as opposed to anybody else's, which I thought was really, really good for them. So because Mary's not older, but she's been in the business longer, so she's a little more seasoned. And she knew how to work with everybody. She never really had major issues, except for everybody had issues with Christine. So, but outside of Christine, Mary wasn't really a problem, starter. So I felt like that was really good for her to give her a new role, more responsibility, and kind of like, be control over the office. But yeah, Chelsea definitely came and shook things up a bit, as far as being Christine's ally, which, Christine kind of just played the back role and let Chelsea lead. And then I feel like for the first 5 episodes, it was kind of working in Chelsea's favor. But then I feel like by episode 5, by the time we got to the tea party, it was just a whole new Chelsea. And I was just like, okay, sis, like, pipe down. Like, you don't know our situations. You don't know everybody. Like, you know Christine, but you don't know us. And like, even her and Davina's situation, I was on Davina's side because I'm just like, girl, you don't know me. You don't know me and Christine's relationship. And like, I feel like Christine was just been throwing everybody under the bus. And like, I know we all have to take accountability, and I'm sure some people were saying things about Christine, so I'm sure some parts of Christine's side are true, but we know like that's only like 10%, and 90% of the other people's stories are true. So it was not a very messy season, but I'm glad it was messy enough where they got a reunion this year, because after 5 years, I definitely feel like they needed a reunion. And I'm super upset Christine didn't come, but obviously we know she likes to start drama, but she doesn't like to be, confronted by drama. So, which is just one of those people. Yeah, the fact that she left the brokerage, I wasn't really shocked. I was just like, obviously she just does not want to face these people anymore. So that's why she left the brokerage, and that's why she didn't come to the reunion, because it's not that she was above it. She just probably felt like she didn't owe anybody an explanation, and instead of being attacked by everybody at once, because that's pretty much what the whole reunion would have been. They would have had to do 2 hours, and it would have just been of her being attacked the whole time. So I mean, she was kind of right for not going, but whatever. But yes, Miss Chelsea was definitely serving up the drama with no issues. She did what needed to be done, and I feel like we appreciate her for that. Even though it kind of like divide and conquer is what she did. But I feel like she brought a lot to the table. She had clients. She was serious. I know everybody was like, is she serious? With her business and everything. I totally understood. She definitely tried to go into damage control and regroup her reputation before it got too out of hand, and before I'm sure she was probably reading the comments and the feedback, and she was like, and then she watched it and she was like, wait, let me digress. Like, girl, because episode 5 through 10, you got a little crazy and a little beside yourself. So we just gonna lay that out on the table. But yes, I'm like, it was very much more drama than this season as opposed to working. And I know the markets have just been crazy altogether, and they're very in a much higher price point. So it's already not a lot of inventory. So I know they probably didn't even have a lot of listings. And I know they kind of share listings. But my question is always, how does this affect you guys' business? After these episodes air and people go through these seasons, I mean, for one, the whole Christine trying to take Emma's listing, that is a real thing. That is most certainly a real thing. That is just how us realtors compete. We compete by commission percentages. Okay, they'll do it for this percentage, but I'll do it for this percentage. So it wasn't necessarily Christine giving somebody physical money. It was more of the percentages. If you give me if you give me your listing, I will, save you this amount of money. And that, like I said, that is just how we compete on natural levels. So I for one know that was 100% true, and like there is no sugarcoating on top of that, because like I said, that is how we compete just amongst each other. That's how agents compete. We compete over commission prices. I'm not lowering my commission, but that is just the snake part of the game, and that's like the shady part, and like how people get over on each other. That's that part of the game. So I know for 100% that Christine did that. So I'm like, even for Jason to even continue to even give the thought of giving her another chance after she literally tried to sabotage your business. I know you're trying to stay out of the girl drama and just keep it strictly business, but that was like, that one, I don't know about that. I don't know how I felt about that. I just wonder how it affects their business. And I'm also like, is there really favoritism like going on? It just kind of makes me wonder. I mean, not necessarily about like what Christine said as far as Keilah messing with the boss. I have little baby right here, so you will be hearing her coo. But yeah, not necessarily what not necessarily what Christine said about Keilah messing with Jason, but I'm just like, is there favoritism just in the office over who they pick to work with who? Like what's the inside scoop? Because this is a very small brokerage. This is kind of like, selling Tampa. Like when you have a brokerage of only 10 people, it's a very fine line and boundaries that can be crossed that, most people don't do. So I'm just like, I don't even want to know, because I'm just like, I'm sure it's messy within itself. And then when you have such a small amount of people, again, and some are working and some aren't working, it's kind of like, who do you really go with? This will really be interesting once they come back for season 6 to see how everything panned out. I'm sure Chelsea will still be there, but I'm like, are they gonna have Christine on there in her other brokerage, or is that how they're gonna do it and show how they're gonna compete against each other, or like seeing each other in the field? I feel like that's gonna be very interesting. And then Jason and Keilah, the whole dating thing, I just thought that was extremely messy, because even you can tell on the reunion stage, like, look how you guys ended up. Like, now you guys are just awkward. So it's like, that wasn't a good idea. So I understand Keilah was like the new girl on the block, but it was giving very much that it wasn't going to work out, because we all knew how Jason was. And I mean, we could definitely see his growth. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how next season goes and where we pan out from here. Is it going to be like Christine in the field? Is she gonna be their competition? Like, where do we go from here? So it's gonna be interesting. I'm sure Chelsea will be keeping up some of the drama. I'm sure her and Davina's relationship is gonna not the relationship, they're not having a relationship, will kind of escalate into another situation, probably something bigger. But Chelsea tried to be like, the I understand person and all of that, but it's like, girl, no, you don't. You didn't understand. You was just trying to be messy, and you thought you was being on your homegirl side, but now that she flipped the script on you and she left, Where does that leave you? So are you now going to try to come in and take over and like be the top producing agent? I would love to see that, but it's like, what are you really gonna do now? What's gonna be your next game plan? Because your come in plan went one way. You tried to be everybody's friend and so understanding. And like the host on the reunion said, it's like you were giving everybody the benefit of the doubt at the beginning, but by the end, you were no longer giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. You were kind of just taking their stance on it and leaving it as that. But yeah, I was like, this was just really interesting. I was super excited for a reunion. But yeah, the work to drama ratio was like work, drama. But yeah, as we all know, with all these, work life shows, like it's always more drama because that's what keeps us watching and that's what's going to get them the next season. So yes, of course, but whatever. I am going back to mommy duties. As you guys can hear that the baby has started playing with her toys. So I just wanted to come here and be like, Selling Sunset review. We love Chelsea, but Chelsea, what are you gonna do? Chelsea, how are you gonna change your relationships? But I will see you guys next week. We're gonna get into some real estate fun stuff. Not fun, but education. And yes, I love you guys as always. Come back. I didn't want this review to be super long because I want you guys to actually watch it through the end. So love y'all. Bye.